and a few rules to follow.
Hi, guys.
We're about to start, and I just needed to go over a few protocol here. If you get kicked out of the room, don't worry, because you'll be able to get right back in. And to please follow our integrity, respect, and service and excellence core values. And please mute. And if you're not speaking, and when you are, please try to remember to unmute yourself. If not, no worries, because I'm Elizabeth Ruiz. I'm your host for the evening, and I will help you mute and unmute. I will also be monitoring the chat. If you have any questions or issues, just give me a message in the chat, and I will help you as much as I can. I would also like to share that we will be following a protocol that Kathy has given us tonight. She is, let's see, let me find it here. It is going to be, I apologize, my talk keeps.
You're awesome, girl. I'll tell you what, I don't know what we would do without people like Elizabeth in our world. Don't you guys all agree? Thank you. So everybody come on camera. I want to see faces. This is an interactive session. Elizabeth, I'm going to share my screen now. Is that okay? Get this. Where'd y'all go? There you are. Hot diggity. I've got everybody on my screen and the PowerPoint's up. Hi. So one of the things that we are trying to accomplish immediately is to find out what you want from this session. What are your expectations when you hear the words grateful leadership? Why did you come? If you could put that in chat, that would be really, really helpful. And can everyone hear me okay? Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. I learned about grateful leadership maybe 10 years ago. At MD Anderson Cancer Center, we had an opportunity to take a class led by Judy Umlas, who is the author of the Grateful Leadership book. Look, gotta be over here to make this go. Whenever I heard the idea and the concept of becoming a grateful leader, it struck a chord in my heart, not just in my mind. And I knew that something was missing at MD Anderson. There were morale issues. People weren't talking to one another. There were so many silos. Do you understand? There's just groups of people that we're doing this, and they actually were overlapping, but didn't know how to reach out and find that information out from one another. There was distrust among the ranks. And as I watched all of that, I thought, my goodness, we've got to find a way to connect people and help them to become confident, comfortable, and loving toward one another in a positive way. Tonight, I will share with you different ideas and concepts that will help you to become a more effective leader, for sure, in your world, wherever you are. You know, they say that leading volunteers is like herding cats. That is so true. Trying to get someone to come on board just to do the simplest task sometimes seems to be a challenge. But by using the concepts that we'll be presenting tonight in Grateful Leadership, you'll understand how to motivate people through genuine, heartfelt acknowledgement as opposed to just recognition. We'll also go through and help you understand and see the difference between a simple thank you, recognition, and acknowledgement. What is a grateful leader to you? This is where you answer me and where we think about this a little bit together. It's not all about me talking, so I am listening now. You guys have to be unmuted and start speaking.
Someone start talking. I know you have answers inside of you.
I think of leadership as that person who's out front, who's leading the charge. I think of grateful as being appreciative, especially of others and their work.
Thank you, David. I'm going to start calling people by name if y'all don't start speaking, because I really want to hear what you have to say. This isn't about me. Do you understand that? As a grateful leader, this really isn't for me. I know this material, and I use it to the benefit of all those that are around me. I want to share it with you so that you too can change lives and change the way that you interact with others. But it is an interactive class. This is not me saying you do this and you'll be better. There's some of that, but I want mainly to hear your voice.
Kathy?
Yes, Brenda. Yes, ma'am.
As a young leader here, and I'm learning so much, I think I acknowledge my team and the people that I'm leading is very important.
I agree. What do you think the difference is between acknowledgement and recognition, Brenda?
Acknowledgement for me is coming from my heart.
Aww.
Whatever they said.
Well said.
Yeah, and recognition is to recognize the work on the job that they do as part of my team.
Yes. So we recognize people in Toastmasters really well, don't we? Can everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Thank you, Charlotte. Tell me what you're thinking about grateful leadership.
When I think about grateful leadership, I think of our work too, but I love thinking about our Toastmasters leaders, how they lead by example, but they're so appreciative and just grateful for their team. So you always see there's recognition for everyone that's doing something. But then I love when Brenda said heartfelt appreciation. You always feel like, oh, wow, this is not just a team, this is family. And to me, that's when the appreciation really feels so genuine and you feel valued. So that's what I love that our leadership here at District 56 has and does. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Charlotte. Timothy Wood, tell us a little bit about what you think grateful leadership might be and what you want to learn from this course.
So one of the philosophies that my company that I work for does is servant leadership, which
yes,
I think has a very similar theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't lead in day-to-day operations, but now I'm leading in Toastmasters, and it's to get fellow volunteers to do some work, to do what they need to do. You can't really force them to do it. You need to show them that you're really helping out and that you need their help, and you have to show appreciation and that you're grateful for their work. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of here is some of the soft skills related to those.
Very good. Thank you, Timothy. By the way, just so that you guys know this is a PMI course that's taught for project managers. And if you are a PMP, you can credit this 1 hour of leadership training toward your PDUs. Judy Umlas was in the Netherlands at one point, and when the project managers, hundreds of them, heard that she was going to be teaching a class on grateful leadership, they rebelled and said, we need to know how to do Scrum, we need to do Agile, we need to do Waterfall, we need understanding in these areas, not something called grateful leadership. Her comment was, and she said whenever she was telling me the story, she said her knees were shaking, her eyes were watering, but she stood on stage and she went, who has the highest suicide rate in the world? And they all were taken aback because she challenged them then and there to rethink acknowledgement as a possibility of changing people's lives. The Army has approached Judy to teach this class because of the suicide rate, and it is actually, there's statistics that show that the people that came to our class didn't commit suicide that were even considering it. This is a very vulnerable class. You're going to be asked to be you, not some faction of you, genuinely you. This is all about us as individuals learning how to be grateful for the things that we see around us. Those were some good answers, and I appreciate it. Let's go on to see what is over here. I think we were spot on, don't you guys? One of the things that I learned out of this Grateful Leadership book was how to do profiles and get to know my people. The one that really strikes me is the last one who wants to know her team members and other stakeholders as human beings. It's not about the role that you hold. You're not a sergeant at arms. You're not a president. You're a human being with all that entails, the good and the bad, the heart, the scare, life. It happens all the time. Welcome to you guys that are new. We are just beginning the Grateful Leadership course. We're so glad you're here. Cheryl, would you please read what is acknowledgement? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
What is acknowledgement? Acknowledgement is a heartfelt and authentic communication that lets a person know his or her value to the organization or team and the importance of the contribution that they make.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate that. When you think about acknowledgement, think about the times in your life where you left an event or left with a feeling of dissatisfaction or even hurt because no one even said hello, no one took a moment to get to know you. Gratitude, grateful leadership is just a mindset shift where you learn how to actually reach into people's lives. One of the leaders that we're going to be focusing on today is this gentleman, Walter Robb. Now, Walter has a vision when he was CEO of Whole Foods, and his vision was, I want to feed the world, and I want everyone to have good food and healthy food. I want them to be cared for from their soul, from their body. I want to give them everything they need. One of the stories that I read about, he had an employee who heard of a little boy who wanted the experience of shopping at Whole Foods because it was a happy place. It was somewhere where everyone got along and people were kind to one another. But the boy was blind. So one of his leaders in his company came up with a great idea. And he said, why don't we just take 3 aisles and put Braille on everything? They did that. That's thinking outside the box. It's acknowledging that there are people that need something more than what we would normally see. Elizabeth Ruiz is a perfect example of a grateful leader. She comes to us in humility and honor with all of her skills right there for us to help us to make a wonderful presentation tonight. Without the technology groups that we have now in Toastmasters, we wouldn't know how to do this. I am not the technology guru, but thank goodness there are people surrounding me that are. Another person, Kimberly, her story was interesting to me. She went into her job with 80 employees. That's a bunch of people, folks, 80. She interviewed every single one of them in just a few weeks period of time, and she got to know them. She didn't get to know what they wanted to do in their job. I mean, that was part of it, but that wasn't all of it. She found out when their birthday was, when their anniversary was, how they felt about life, what their life goals were that had nothing to do with the job itself. And she wrote notes, copious notes about each one of these people. And in doing so, she was able to connect with them in a deeper way. At the end of the year, after they had had a successful year, she did an end of the year letter to all of the employees that she had under her umbrella. And at the end of each letter, just a small blurb. Michael, I saw what you did this year. You really made a huge difference in our lives. And thank you so much for that commitment, that dedication. Who you are and what you have done made us successful. It was different from recognition. He got a paycheck, but he didn't get a bonus. It's not all about the money. It is important to make a good living, don't get me wrong. But after the money is there and you're able to pay your bills, there has to come a point where you are driven by something a little bit deeper than that. Are you a grateful leader? I would like everybody on camera right now, please. Thank you, Brent. Joe? Charlotte? Karen? Melba? Cheryl? Salome? Can you guys turn on your video? I'm getting some chats. Let's see what's going on. Maybe you can't.
Kathy, a few will come back later.
Okay.
Some have stepped away for a minute.
Okay, cool.
They'll be right back.
Thank you, my dear. I'm glad you knew. I appreciate that. But whenever we're fixing to be breaking out into rooms, hi, Melba. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
We're going to be breaking out into rooms, and you'll be asked specific questions. And I wanted you to have an opportunity to see each other. So based on the amount of people, Elizabeth, we need 5 people per room. Cheryl, I can't hear you. Okay, so let's do 4 people per room, is Cheryl's recommendation. I want you to go into these rooms and answer a couple questions. Did you guys have the opportunity to get Appendix A?
I didn't. I didn't.
I added all the files into the chat.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I can do it again.
And we can just ask the question and then you'll know what you're doing. How's that?
I looked at the Appendix A, I believe it was. It was so small that it wasn't readable.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much for that perspective. And we're going to do our best to fix that. But the questions are really just a moment of reflection. So prior to going in there, Elizabeth, how are you going to identify who's going into which room?
I'm going to create it where it's automatically placing them into the rooms. Is that okay? Or do you want me to?
Yes, that'll be fine. No,
Okay.
that'll be fine. I just wanted to know. So if you go into room number 1, your question is, do you see yourself as a grateful leader? And what does that mean to you? And you guys are going to come back and share. So choose one person in the room that will come back and share with us what you've learned. So do you see yourself as a grateful leader? And what does that mean to you? The second question for group 1 is,
Kathy, I can help when they go into the breakout rooms. I can get the questions to them. It'll save time. How's that?
okay, I appreciate that. Thank
How's
you.
that? Okay, you're going into breakout rooms now. Are you ready?
You guys just talk amongst each other. Choose one person to come back and tell us what you've learned. And Elizabeth, thank you for being such a lovely host.
You're welcome. Here we go.
Bye.
And Kathy, if you happen to go into one, just come back on in, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, everyone's been invited to a breakout room.
I'm going to go for just a moment, Elizabeth, into
Okay.
the first one.
I think I joined late here, Elizabeth. I don't know.
I see.
I did too. Yes.
Okay,
I mean, if it's too late, no biggie.
No, you're going. I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Hi,
can
everyone.
somebody just real briefly tell me what a grateful leader is?
Absolutely. Elizabeth, I'll handle this room if you can go to the next. Thank you.
Okay.
Gratefully.
I think the host is here. Yeah. You're muted, Elizabeth.
You're ready for your questions? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you see yourself as a grateful leader, and what does it mean to you? That's question 1. Question 2 is, do you think your people see you as a grateful leader? On what do you base this? Do I need to repeat?
The second one, please.
Do you think your people see you as a grateful leader? On what do you base this? Okay, you're welcome. I'm going back into the other room now.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thanks. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Elizabeth. How you doing?
Great. Can I give you guys some questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The first one is, do you see yourself as a grateful leader? And what does it mean to you? And then the second question is, when you think about your approach to leadership, how does the practice of acknowledgement fit into your leadership style and strategy? And I can repeat that again if you need me to.
Yes, please.
Okay, number 1, do you see yourself as a grateful leader? What does this mean to you? And the second question is, when you think about your approach to leadership, how does the practice of acknowledgement fit into your leadership style and strategy? Are you guys okay?
I think so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Do you need any more help? You're okay?
That's what it looks like to be grateful leadership is about. There's Elizabeth.
Do you guys, hi guys, do you need the questions?
No, we've got the questions.
You got them? Okay, great. I just checking on you.
Elizabeth, what we're doing is we're answering question 1 and we're gonna answer question 4 because that's our break room number.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
That's great. I like it. Okay. I'll see you in a minute.
Was on another meeting, so I just went when the breakout started. Yeah.
I'm back. I'm just checking in on you guys. Do you need any help with the questions? Are you okay?
I think we should be able to, we could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think we'll be okay. Thank you.
Okay, do you want another question to talk about?
Another question?
It's okay, yeah, why not? If you have it already, I have an extra one if you'd like an extra. Are you ready? Okay.
No, I don't think we want the extra. If we could say no. I vote no for the extra.
Okay, I'll see.
Yeah, I also vote no myself.
Okay,
so.
well, majority rules. I'll see you
Okay.
back. Okay, bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I used to let my team know how appreciative I was about the service that they gave into with my club, and very appreciative about that. Definitely, I see myself as a grateful leader.
I'm checking to see if you guys are finished, and if so, if you wanted another question, or are you still working on your first two?
We are working the first two.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe 20 more seconds.
Okay.
And yes, my
Oops. Hi, Elizabeth. I can't hear you, honey. You're muted. There you go.
I was unmuting you when you were unmuting yourself, so we kept going back and forth.
Oh, that's fun.
So I've been going in and out of each of the rooms, and Cheryl is in breakout room 4, and
Okay.
you have breakout room covered number 1. So I was going back and forth to 2 and 3.
Perfect.
Yes.
May I pop into room 3 real quick?
Sure, I will put you in there right now.
Thank you.
Let me add you. Let's see.
Hey, Joe, I love you.
Joe stepped away for just a minute.
Oh, and Elizabeth, we
Yes.
need to be pulling back out within another 3 minutes.
Okay, let me.
I didn't tell you that. How would you know?
That was my question next.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
I can't seem to find. Let's see. Kathy, I don't know how to put you back into a different room. I'm looking for it right now.
That's okay.
Oh, I got you. Here we go. You want to? Karen, can you hear me? Hello? Karen, can you hear me? Everyone is in breakout rooms right now. If you can hear me, Karen. If you can hear me, I can assign you to a breakout room if you're ready. Can you hear me, Karen? Hello? Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Brenda, oh, here we go. They're all coming back in. Great. Excellent.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, Kathy.
I went somewhere.
I wonder where you went. I had you in the room 3.
Nope. I went completely out and had to log back in. But you know what? It's fine. I just smiled and went, huh, all right. How do I fix this?
Well, we're glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back. Thank you. Let's go back. There we go. Do we have everyone back yet?
I'm all here.
It looks like everyone's here. Let's go ahead and start talking about what we talked about in each one of the rooms. Melba, would you tell us what you learned in your room, or what you guys talked about? I know I was there, but it's you.
Yes, we talked about who the grateful leader is. Catherine asked if there was anybody that we knew who was a grateful leader, and there were several of us who said, well, yes, we do. And the fact that our answer was that we had hoped that we were grateful leaders. And when we looked at what a grateful leader is, we determined that we were grateful. We are grateful leaders. However, there's always room for improvement, and that we were leaders who just really led from our hearts. So the 3 people in our group, I think, are grateful leaders, and we do lead from our hearts.
Yay. Thank you, Melba. Who is our spokesperson for number 2, for room number 2? Sai.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Y'all hear me well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, ma'am, I can.
So we had 2 questions. The first one was, do you see yourself as grateful leader? What does it mean to you? We had Brenda, Charla, and myself in the room.
Nice.
I have to say, all 3 of us felt that we are great leaders. And the reason being, as we served in our leadership roles, we did what a grateful leader has to do, recognizing, acknowledging, and not only that, also feeling grateful for the opportunity we have to serve in an organization. That's also important for a leader. It's not just showing the appreciation, but also feeling that gratefulness coming from the heart for the opportunity we have and the support and the belief we have from the members. And our second question was, do you think your people see you as grateful leader? On what basis? Again, we are so happy that we all 3 felt that people see us as grateful leaders, because when we see the same appreciation and the recognition from the members in response, we feel that. When members or the club officers do more than they are required to do, we know they are expressing their gratefulness in those terms. And last but not the least, I always believe in a servant leadership. The successful and the grateful leadership is when the outcome is always bigger than the sum of the individual parts, and that's when the cohesiveness and the successfulness comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai. Appreciate you. Okay, room number 3 is our spokesperson for that. Hey, George. Is it George or Jorge?
Jorge.
Sorry. Hey, Jorge.
Thank you, Catherine. Well, I was with Demetria and Brian Jacko. We were talking about what is mean the grateful leader. We think we are all grateful leaders because we are serving And also we are empower our people to do things. I think, or we think that to be a grateful leader is not to us or only the organization. It's a whole package that includes your family, your community, your organization, your company, and all of these things as a package. You have to develop it and show how people grow without you, because not only you cannot be a boss, a supervisor. You can have people to lead with your example, not only by words, but your actions. So the strategy for to be a grateful leader is showing you as a leader, your actions, also trying to help people, to serve people. That is our conclusion in our room.
Thank you, Jorge. Appreciate that. And finally, for room 4, who is our spokesperson for there?
I think I was nominated to be the spokesperson.
Hello, John.
Hello. We all answered the question, do you see yourself as a grateful leader? What does this mean for you? And it was really interesting because we all kind of acknowledged somewhat of an evolution in our journey, and that some of us are still getting there, right? Maybe some of us are leaders in our jobs, or some of us are not. And so Cheryl spoke about how she really makes it a point to, in the projects that she's doing, to always find a way to, she uses attaboy, but recognizing some people, they say that they don't necessarily want to be acknowledged, but turns out they really look for it. And then Roberto had mentioned that he's evolved as a leader as well, realizing that it's not just about, telling people exactly what to do, but how important it is to really be grateful for that. And I said the same kind of thing. Like it's been something that I've learned and I'm still growing into. So really evolving into grateful leaders. Some of us felt like we were, some of us felt like we were still learning that. And then the other thing that we discussed is, when you think about your approach, how does acknowledgement play a part? And I kind of gave it away there a little bit. I would say we felt that it was central, and it's challenging because some of us feel differently about it. Like I said that I personally feel like I have, if I get too much, I kind of, it's kind of annoying actually. And some other people in the room actually said that they felt similarly. However, they've noticed that a lot of people, that it's really the food they need to keep them going, maybe every day even. Mm-hmm. And so it's better to be on the side of providing consistent acknowledgement, overemphasizing the acknowledgement, and maybe even figuring out creative ways to do it. One of my examples is to write cards. Someone told me, I think some famous president, Bush or something, George H. Bush used to do a lot of cards, right? And so I've tried to be really proactive in doing that. Like, how many cards did I write this week or today? And so again, evolution, different people perceive it differently. Generally, you should just err on the side of giving more.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, John. And thank you for representing your group. We'll talk a little bit later on about the types of acknowledgement that people need and being sensitive to that. So that's a good segue. Thank you. Whenever we're talking about people being engaged, how many of you guys in your clubs have people that just come every now and then, or don't ever want to give a speech or be a leader in the group? I mean, don't we all have that in some point, right? So this is really tailored toward offices, but I've changed a couple words here and there to talk about what it's like to be a Toastmaster leader and trying to get people on board and excited about stepping forward and developing themselves and others. I don't think there's any doubt that we know engaged, poorly engaged, and disengaged people, right? We've all got that. So I'm gonna choose Miss Charlotte. Would you please read this?
Sure. Okay. I'm waiting to see it.
Oh, you can't see? Am I not sharing?
No, I just see the people right now.
I apologize, sis.
That's
Thank you
okay.
for letting me know. I'm sharing right now.
That would be a challenge.
Yes, right? Hard to read
That's
if
like
you
the,
can't see it.
That's the engaging challenge.
the ultimate engagement challenge. Yeah, indeed.
What is the engagement challenge for? From the 5 imperatives, number 3, engage our team members. Ensure you have the tools and information they need to do the jobs they perform so well. Create an environment of coordination, coordination, collaboration, collaborative teamwork, and mutual respect.
So let's talk about that for just a moment. One of the things, I am president of one club and VPE of another club right now. And in both of those clubs, I have particular challenges with some of the people within the clubs because they're afraid, they're uncomfortable, they feel like what their voice doesn't matter, they don't need to be heard. And I will tell you, it's drastically different when I take just a few minutes and get to know them. But after you get to know them, connecting different people with each other has been really successful as well. So John, if I told you that Charlotte had been talking about you and she respected you so much and wanted to work with you, wouldn't that make you want to work with Charlotte more? Right? That's a third-handed compliment or a way of acknowledgement that's kind of like from the backside in. So instead of putting you in front of a group of people and going, John, you are so amazing, blah, 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 there's another way to acknowledge you. In getting to know people enough to know what their mode of listening is a big part of this. Now, there's the acknowledgement of driving down the road and you see someone be kind to one another, and I rolled down my window and said, roll down your window. Said, I saw that. That was a great kindness from one stranger to you. Thank you. That too is acknowledgement. Cost me nothing. But you know that that gentleman or that lady went on with their day with a smile on their face. It's like, oh, somebody saw that. How nice. Or someone picking up a piece of trash, and you just take that second and acknowledge them. We'll talk about what it takes to have the courage to do that. So we talked a little bit already about what it means to be engaged and not engaged and actively disengaged. Do you guys have people in your clubs that are actively disengaged, that are trying to sabotage the club or trying to hurt somebody deliberately? You don't really even have to raise your hand, but just think about, how do you encounter that person? And what can you do, and how can you twist them around to where they're excited to be there? Is it possible? I would like to tell you that it is, but my heart is that actively disengaged members will probably remain that way. The 80-20 rule does rule. Because what happens is they're just already so set in the negative side that it's really hard to pull them around. So we've got around 60, well, I would say another 20% that are just like, woohoo, cheerleaders amongst the group. And I think that most of the people on this call fall into that category. But then there are the other 40% of the pie that are just on the fence. Oh, I'll come if somebody calls me and asks me to. But how do we turn that to where they get involved and engaged? And I do believe with all my being that having the opportunity to engage someone is starting with acknowledgement. I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. One is with a good ending, and one is without a good ending. There was a young lady, and she had the knowledge to fulfill the role that another person was fulfilling. However, she was the VPE in their club, and the president of that club had a major life quake where everything just went kaput, and that president had to leave. Well, the young lady who stepped in as the VPE worked copious amount of hours. She got the club success plan done. She met with the area director. She did all the things that the president would normally do for 2 months. Now, in scenario number one, the president comes back from the life quake and their life has been a mess, and they say, "Oh, thank you so much, Demetria, for handling all that for us. Appreciate it." And she goes on about her day. The other one is, "Demetria, oh my goodness, what would we have done without you? I couldn't be there, and you stepped in and took over and made it work. How can we ever thank you for your commitment to this club, the commitment to Toastmasters, and commitment to all of these team members that you changed their life. Thank you so much." It's a big difference. We oftentimes recognize people, but acknowledging people goes down into who they are as a human being. And I would love to see all of us grow to the point that it's just commonplace to acknowledge all the way down to the soul. Right now, thank you, Ms. Charlotte. Right now, how many of you were acknowledged by somebody else within the past year? Just give me a raise of a hand. Nice. Within the past 6 months. Within the past month. The past week. And the past day. Notice that the hands get less and less because it's not a common thing to be acknowledged. There was a young lady who was at her company, and whenever they had a moment where they could acknowledge people, someone acknowledged her in front of the whole crowd for being the best receptionist ever. She just broke down in tears. In 5 years, no one had ever acknowledged her. 5 years. And she had already put in her time and said, "I am going on to another location." I wish somebody had told me this 2 weeks ago. I know within our Toastmasters clubs, our attrition rate is crazy. It's like 50%. What are we not doing? What can we do differently to touch the people's lives, to make them feel valued? Brenda was sharing that earlier, that when you feel valued, you want to be a part of something. We want to belong. We want to be part of a tribe. But if we're too busy to make everyone feel part of that tribe, or individuals, but collectively, then we're missing the boat. My friend and I don't sit together when we go to a meeting. Deliberately, we sit with people that are new or don't know anyone, because you can become so close to one person that it's hard for other people to feel comfortable with you, right? So make sure that whenever you're in a group setting, especially with your club, don't miss Maria, don't miss Demetria. Make sure that everyone gets a piece of acknowledgement throughout this Zoom session, this world that we're in right now. Because if their name is never heard, which is the most beautiful word in their vocabulary, is just their name, then they feel like they weren't even here. How long has it been since you've acknowledged, really acknowledged, not just recognized or not just said thank you, but really acknowledged someone near you? Has it been within the past week? I only see 2 nods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, yay. Good. The people that didn't get to raise their hand at this point, I want you to think now. I want us to all think now about someone that deserves to be acknowledged. The last time I taught this class was at a conference for Houston at a district conference. And there was a guy that I asked to share his acknowledgement with us, and he agreed. His acknowledgement was to his wife. He said, you know, I make sure that at work and in Toastmasters and at church, I acknowledge everybody. He said, but honey, I haven't been taking good care of the home place. And he told her, he listed off the different things that she had done recently, whether it was getting the kids to bed or making a nice meal. And he said, I really have to step that up. So just be thinking about who you would like to acknowledge. This is just a picture of the appreciation paradigm. Does this mean we don't say thank you? Absolutely not. Say thank you. Hi, thank you so much for what you just did. Thank yous are very appropriate. Recognition. I wanted my DTM plaque. I want that little ribbon that says, I want my trophy when I win a contest. I love recognition, it's fun. But then acknowledgement, you can see the sweet spot in the middle where it all comes together in that. When you get all 3 together, then people actually feel it. John, one of the things that we had talked about with Judy is that her husband didn't know how to acknowledge her. He was kind of shy. She's gregarious and outgoing and never meets a stranger. Her husband's the opposite extreme. He's very much the introvert. And she said, well, just write me a letter. You know, just one letter would be awesome. Well, he poured his heart out in this one letter that she didn't think life could get better. It changed their walk. Then the next week, she got another letter. She has now been getting a letter a week for 20 years. And she saved them all. She said their marriage went from good to off the chain amazing because he took the time just to say, I see you. And isn't that what it's really all about? Primitivo Davis was another example of a grateful leader that I wanted to share with you guys. He had 13 people under him. And he thought about it and decided, you know, if I learn to acknowledge 13 people and they acknowledge 13 people, then immediately we've got 69 people. And if those 69 people acknowledge 13 people, then we have a movement. That's what I would love to see in District 56, is a movement of people learning to acknowledge one another. But is this restricted to just Toastmasters? No, of course not. It should bleed into every part of your life. I will share, this is not the pretty side of Kathy, but I will tell you right now, I was a teenager living with my best friend. Her name was Vicky. And Vicky picked her teeth with my driver's license card. I was livid. It was so gross. Blah! I hated that. And I blew up. I lost my temper. I was so ugly. I slammed all 7 doors in that apartment hard. I wanted the walls to rattle so she would know how mad I was. As I walked outside of our apartment and I was going down the stairs, I saw one of my neighbors and I'm like, hey, George, how's it going? and it hit me right between the eyes. The person I loved, my best friend, I treated like she was just a horrible creature and I didn't care. A total stranger, I treated well. Be sure and make sure that you are the people closest to you, that they are acknowledged. Your children, don't forget them. The people that are in your life. There was a gentleman that gave a speech not too long ago, and he was talking about, he wrote a letter to his kids. You know, I love you so much, you're important to me, this is what I value in you. He gave them an acknowledgement letter. And his kid said, Dad, you're gonna live forever. You know, we're not worried about you dying, you're only in your 50s. And he said, oh honey, that wasn't for me. That was in case you die. When I was 11, my brother was burned to death. He died, he was only 18 years old. I have a deep sense of mortality. It can happen like that, guys. We talked a little bit earlier, David and I, about Paul Ralph. He was an amazing man, seemed to be in totally great health, very active and strong. He had a stroke, and within a month, maybe 2 at the most, he passed away. Nobody expected that to happen. Take the time to make sure that your people around you are acknowledged. Everyone here has basically said, I already acknowledge others. Is there someone you haven't acknowledged? My voice is going. Whenever you're looking at people that you want to acknowledge, and you acknowledge them, do you notice they stand a little bit straighter? They actually grow an inch or 2. It's there are a lot of benefits from acknowledging others. I think one of my favorite is the pay it forward piece of this, because whenever I've acknowledged someone or someone has acknowledged me, I'm in a better frame of mind and I want to go and make somebody else's day brighter as well. Have you guys had that experience too? So give me an example of an acknowledgement that you experienced where someone acknowledged you and then you turned around and acknowledged someone else.
Did you say Sai? Sorry, I
did.
Okay. Well, this past term, I served as president of Blue Frog Toastmasters.
Okay.
That's what I was sharing with my other friends in the breakout session as well. But I fixed my mind, I wanted to do a 6-month term, and then I wanted to continue as area director so that way I could progress towards my distinguished Toastmasters. At the end of the term, when I talked to my club officers, I felt that acknowledgement from them for the service I did at the club, which in turn changed my mind, and I wanted to continue as a leader for the next term as well. Nice. So it went hand in hand. I would see the acknowledgement, what they gave us, and the acknowledgement I provided throughout the 6-month term, and recognizing paid it forward or hand in hand, I would say. That's, yeah, that was an unexpected turn, because as I said, I fixed my mind for 6 months and I just wanted to move on to the area director. But I'm still continuing as a president and also area director now.
Well done.
Thank you.
That was perfect. I want to share with you the 5 C's from Judy's book. Oh my gosh, is it 8 o'clock? I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Anyone that wants to leave, I understand. This was not intentional. I just want to hear y'all's voices so bad. The acknowledgement process, first of all, is consciousness. When you see someone and they're doing something cool, just be aware finally of it. Because I know that we're walking down the hall and we see something good and we're like, that was nice, or that was good. Just being aware and allowing your consciousness to work. And then finally, it's making that choice. Do I say something or do I not? That's a big part of it, and that takes courage. What if they reject me? What if they think I'm being too mushy? What if they think I have an ulterior motive? What if, right? So then it's a matter of, we know we've made the conscious choice, and we've decided we're courageous enough, but what if it stops there and we don't actually say anything? Then we're stuck in the communication area and it's pretty useless. So next, make that commitment to follow through and make that conscious choice to speak to someone and tell them what you've seen and how much you value them. This is the ending of our program. Go ahead and right now compose, knock your socks off. It is one of your attachments. And knock your socks off acknowledgement for someone else. And when you've done that, take that moment, make that commitment, and go ahead and give it to them. Make their day, make their life change, and show them by example what a grateful leader actually is. This is the piece of paper that I want you to find. Knock your socks off piece acknowledgement exercise. Fill that out and then send it on. Who could read this from me? Timothy Wood, I haven't heard much from you. Would you read this out loud, sir? Of course. Unmute. Yeah.
Is the chart on the screen?
Yes, please.
One person can be a change catalyst, transformer in any situation, any organization. Such an individual is yeast that can leaven an entire loaf. It requires vision, initiative, patience, respect, persistence, courage, and faith to be a transforming leader.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Guys, this is a 2-day class. And we've had a one hour of a 2-day class where you can really delve into and understand grateful leadership, get to know each other, and make it successful. But I hope it is at least, my goal, my hope, is that it has opened your eyes to other people that you can change their lives. That's my contact information, as well as Judy Umlas, the author of the book. You're welcome to contact either one of us. If at this time you would like to go ahead and create your acknowledgement letter, your knock your socks off acknowledgement, then do that. And if you want to share it with me, I would truly be honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I'm going to share my screen. May I take this slide off now, or is that okay?
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Excellent. I feel we all learned a lot, and we're all having multiple takeaways from this evening. I would love to share with you a public Google Drive we have. I've attached it in the link, the chat. The link is in the chat. It is also here on the slide. All of the handouts that Kathy was discussing, you will find them in the shared public Google Drive. Also, we have a Survey Monkey we would love for you to fill out for us. It will take just a few minutes. You can scan it with the QR code from your mobile. I also placed the link in the chat, or you can screenshot it from here and take it. We would appreciate your feedback from this evening. Do we have any more questions for Kathy? No more. Wow. Okay. One more. Here we go. Brent?
I have just one comment that the SurveyMonkey link that you sent in the chat did not work.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Thank you for letting us know that. We will get right onto it as soon as this call is over. We'll look into it. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
Okay,
Brent.
great. Thank you so much.
Can you see it in the chat that I posted? I can share that again here. The SurveyMonkey. Let me bring that back up into the front here. I'll paste it again. Are you able to open it up in the chat?
The one that's posted to the chat doesn't work.
That doesn't work either?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it
it seems like
it gives me the
the one in
word.
the chat didn't work for some reason.
It might be
It says
missing
oh,
G.
Yeah, it says GVG on the screen, but G.
Oh, yes. Okay.
GG.
Let me add a G.
okay.
Is that better? Let's see if that
Yeah,
works.
that works.
Hey.
Bingo. That's it. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
you're right. I just tried it as well. Okay, here we go. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I've been proven.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
You're awesome, Elizabeth Rose. Thank you for hosting tonight. You're precious.
Thank
Cheryl
you so
Warren,
much,
shout
Kathy.
out to you too. Thank you for helping with the technology side. I love you, girl. It's good to have friends.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Do we have any more questions for Kathy?
David?
Okay. I think he was waving.
Are you waiting? Okay,
That was great. Great job. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing. This was excellent.
Aw, thank you, David. Hugs, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy. You did a great
Bye-bye.
job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone, for being here.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.